Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into the Eagles Report, and today, let's go ahead and dive into your mailbag questions and also look at some of the breaking news that comes out of Philadelphia as free agency is literally a couple of days away. How active will the Eagles be? We'll discuss that and more. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so I want to go ahead and start with your guys' questions first. As submitted on Friday's video using the hashtag Eagles down below in the comments, we had a lot of questions. I'm going to try to get to as many as possible. Before we go, though, thumbs up this video if you guys want to do a live Q&A later on this week, maybe a live mock draft as well. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments section down below. Let's go and jump into the first one. Andrew Condon. He asked, congrats, you're the GM of the Eagles. What are your first three moves you see fit in draft and free agency? All right, so I'm the GM of the Eagles. And actually, I'll ask this for you guys, too, to go comment down below. If you were the GM of the Eagles, what are your first three moves? My first three moves are as followed. One, I would re-sign Malcolm Jenkins. I would restructure Malcolm Jenkins' contract. That way, he is happy, thereby making the captain of our defense happy as well. Of course, that's what he is. So, I would restructure that deal, give him the money that he deserves, because he's only making like $6 to $7 million this year, and that is not enough for a guy as good, as reliable, as durable, and as big of a leader as Malcolm Jenkins. That's move number one. Move number two, I would get a cornerback in free agency. Now, I would like Byron Jones, but I'm not going to go ahead and pigeon myself into a hole saying I have to have Byron Jones. I'm going to pigeonhole myself to go ahead and get him. He's going to be very, very expensive. The breaking news is we're going to be in a bidding war with the New York Giants, according to multiple sources, including the NFL.com, to go ahead and sign a guy like Byron Jones. So Byron Jones will be an option, but I would settle for Chris Harris Jr., I'd settle for Bradbury. I mean, there are other cornerbacks to go ahead and get, but I would go ahead, sign a corner in free agency, and then in the NFL draft, I would 100% trade up to get our favorite wide receiver. Now, I say our favorite wide receiver. I'd trade up to get the actual Eagle GM, Howie Roseman's favorite wide receiver, get Doug Peterson's favorite wide receiver. Hell, I would ask Carson Wentz, which of these wide receivers in the draft do you like? Let's go ahead and get all three people, quarterback, GM, and head coach on the same page and move up in the draft. So this is not rocket science. I'd restructure Jenkins' deal, make him happy. Go ahead and sign a free agent cornerback, whoever it is, whatever one you want, I don't care, and go ahead and trade up to get the wide receiver that you want. I say trade up because you're not going to be able to go ahead and draft Lamb, Ruggs, or Jeudy, in my opinion, at number 21 overall. So those are my three moves that I'd go ahead and make. A great question there by Andrew. I'm going to ask you guys now. Go in the comments. I'll read every single comment. If you guys were the GM of the Eagles, your first three moves would be what? Let me know in the comments section down below. Thorne Phillips asked, hashtag Eagles, Denzel Mims, draft stock going up. Do you see him going late in the first round? Yes, I do. The wide receiver out of Baylor. He has all the physical properties of being an elite wide receiver. He tested unbelievably well at the NFL Combine. His numbers were basically at the top of the wide receiver when you take everything into account. His vertical jump was great. His three-cone shuttle was the best out of all wide receivers, and he ran one of the fastest 4.4s out of all of them, minus like Henry Ruggs. Like, he was incredibly fast. So the only knock on Denzel Mims is that he came from Baylor, which is not necessarily known to be a wide receiver university. They have good wide receivers in college, but they don't really transition to good wide receivers in the National Football League. As you guys may know, I went to Baylor. I covered Baylor. I've seen Denzel Mims up close. I'm telling you, he's different from a lot of the ones that I covered earlier on in my Baylor career, as I'm still young, only 23 years old. So I've seen a lot of the recent wide receivers. A lot of them had me doubting that they'd be successful in the NFL, including Corey Coleman. This is one in Denzel Mims that I would not be surprised if Philadelphia is sitting there at 21, excuse me, if they have not moved up. If all the other wide receivers they like are not there, they could settle for a Denzel Mims, and people would be upset because you don't want to settle for a guy who had a second-round grade. But I'm telling you, if we were able to get this guy, he'd be an unbelievable talent for Philadelphia. I'd love to get him in the second round. If he's in the second round, move up, grab him. I'd take two receivers with the first two picks. I don't really care. I'm a big fan of Denzel Mims. Moving on, Christopher Warren. He asked, if we were to get Robbie Anderson and Byron Jones in free agency, which I'd say is more likely than not we get both of them, would you set your eyes on McKinney/Delpit, or would you look more towards filling the linebacker need with Patrick Queen or Kenneth Murray? So first off, excuse me, I mentioned that Byron Jones, jeez, good lord, okay, we're good. Byron Jones is pretty likely. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the number one landing spot right now for Byron Jones. I think they're going to make a run at Robbie Anderson, although apparently the Jets are trying to go ahead and re-sign him. We'll see if that actually happens. If what Christopher says happens, you get a wide receiver in Anderson, you get Byron Jones a corner in free agency, do you either go Delpit or McKinney, get a safety at number 21, or do you go ahead and get Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen a linebacker? I'd be honest, I'd go ahead and get a linebacker. If Kenneth Murray's there at 21, or better yet, if somehow Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson falls to like 7, 8, 9, or 10, package some picks and move up to go ahead and get him. If you got your wide receiver, feel confident with Byron Jones. I would like to draft one. That to me is your number one draft need. But if you feel confident enough and you can get a surefire middle linebacker for the next 10 years on the Eagles, I would go ahead and do that over Delpit and McKinney. Although I tell you this, there's a much higher chance that Delpit is there at 21 than Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen, in my opinion, based on what we're hearing from out of the NFL draft. Okay, before we keep going, be sure to subscribe down below to the Eagles Report. I was notified by YouTube. We have almost 6,000 subscribers, which is awesome. But a lot of you guys have not clicked the notification bell, which you can do down below right next to the subscribe button, and that means you're notified whenever we drop a new video, which is what you should be doing anyway, right? If you're subscribed, it means you want to see my videos, which means you should click the notification bell. So go ahead and scroll down, click that. I would greatly appreciate it. Thorne Phillips asks, everyone is predicting an Eagles, I'm ahead of myself. Rashi asked, who should be the backup for Wentz, regards from Costa Rica? I think it should still be Nate Sudfeld. It says the fourth. I don't know why Nate Sudfeld was not dressed in the playoff game against Seattle, but I think if Sudfeld is in there and McCown is not, and the Eagles win that football game, I'm being honest. Nate Sudfeld looks really, really good in the preseason. He's young. He's learned in the Doug Peterson system for many years now. I think he's one of the better unknown backups in the National Football League. I'm fine with him backing up Carson Wentz. Thorne Phillips asked one more. Everyone is predicting Eagles trade up in this draft. Would it shock you that not only the Eagles do not trade up, but at 21 trade back in the first round? Yes, it would shock me greatly if the Eagles traded back in the first round. It just doesn't make sense in this draft. There's too much talent. It's a very top-heavy draft. Sure, there's a lot of players all throughout, but to me, it's like there are some stars early on. If you're going to stay put, I understand, but if you're going to trade up, you got to trade up. There's no point in trading back here. You already have 10 picks. Like, you have that many picks. You can trade and move around, move back in the second round, back in the third round to get more picks. I would be very upset if they moved out of 21. The only way this happens is they're staying put. I got one player in mind. All the rest are going. Ruggs is gone and Lamb is gone. And everyone is going. And the one guy that they have left on their board goes at 19 or 20. Then maybe they go ahead and pop back out of there if there's a good enough deal. I just don't see it. I would not trade back. I'm with everybody else. I think you either trade up or you stay put. There's too much talent, especially early on. Picks 1 through 17, 1 through 15 are loaded with superstar players. I would get yourself one of them. I would dip into your pool of draft picks, package them, move up, and go ahead and get a superstar. Okay, Philly Special. He actually has the final question today, running out of time. Philly Special says, so if we get 2 cornerbacks, will we be able to get a free agent wide receiver? Well, it depends on how the money all breaks down. We're going to have between $40 and $50 million after cuts and everything that happens with Philadelphia. So I assume about $50 million in free cap space. So Byron Jones is going to cost you $17 to $18 million. You get another cornerback, we got Chris Harris Jr. There's $10 to $11 million right off the bat. So let's do the math. That's almost $27, $30 million. Yes, it would leave you with enough to go out and get a free agent wide receiver. Now, if you get one maybe like a Rashad Perryman, a Danny Amendola, instead of a Philip Dorsett, I know, not great names, but cheaper, instead of like a Robbie Anderson who's going to command the most money. A.J. Green was going to be a lot, but they're going to franchise tag him, so there's no shot at A.J. Green, so I don't see that happening. But yeah, I think we could afford 2 cornerbacks and a wide receiver. The question is, do you want to spend that much in free agency? Because again, you restructure Malcolm Jenkins, you do a couple of other small fill-in-the-gap moves, like $50 million goes away very, very quickly. There are some teams that have like $80 million, like the Cowboys and the Dolphins, who can just spend at will, the Colts as well. But with teams like us, you have enough to make a couple of big splashes, but not enough to go ahead and just buy everyone on the free agent market like we did that year whenever Vince Young called us the Dream Team, which was one of the worst dream teams that could ever be assembled. It was a nightmare season for Philadelphia. But yeah, I think two corners is very realistic. Now you can argue 2 corners could be Byron Jones, and then re-sign either Darby or Mills, right? So you get 2 corners, a.k.a. you bring in a new one and you just re-sign one of the 2 that you could potentially lose. It'd be very interesting to see how high the Eagles are in Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones, Avonte Maddox, and Crayvon LeBlanc, because those are your 4 guys who are signed right now on Philadelphia in the secondary at corner. If you trust them, you just bring in one corner, you let Mills and Darby walk for higher money. If you don't trust them, you don't trust the Sidney Jones you got in the second round a couple of years ago, you don't trust Avonte Maddox, who played well in the postseason the past couple of years, then maybe you go ahead and bring in 2, and that will prove to us they don't trust these other young corners that they drafted, like Rasul Douglas. Remember, Sidney Jones, second round, they got these guys, but are just still not ready to go, still not ready to play overall. So a very interesting offseason. Obviously, the new league year starts on March 18th, which is 10 days from now. We'll have full coverage wall-to-wall in terms of keeping you guys up to date on the latest Eagles news and rumors. Again, subscribe down below. We're approaching 6,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and also a thumbs up for a future, later this week, live Q&A video that we're going to do live here on YouTube. What time we have for today? As we always do, for the Eagles Report, I'm Thomas Mott. We go ahead and sign off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Did you like that video? Thanks for watching, but why don't you click this video right here, because we did it just a couple of days ago, and guess what? It's about the Eagles too. Like that video? Why don't you subscribe right down here? That way you're notified whenever we release more videos here on the Eagles Report. It's the fastest growing Eagles channel here on YouTube. Video, subscribe, click them right now. Go ahead, click them.